Parks Project started about 5-6 years ago. Keith and I met working at Tom's. Worked there for about 5-6 years, and we're lucky enough to get inspired by that business model to use business to do good. And from there, we basically decided, let's see if we can go out in a park and volunteer and provide some support within the parks. Keith hit me up and asked me if I wanted to join him on a volunteer day. Got out there and quickly realized a couple things. One, the average person engaging with conservation work was a bit older, and also the products in the parks was pretty stale. Sometimes we would kind of call it landfill gear, things you buy, like a wolf howling at a moon, and you throw it in your closet and it sits there for months and months, and then maybe you wear it once and then you throw it away eventually, right? And so the idea for us was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way to make things that people love, will wear out. Let's see if we can fill this gap in the market. The first thing we designed were t-shirts. I mean, that's what we knew. I ran apparel and accessories at Tom's, and Keith had a background in fashion and sales and marketing. We literally reached out to some local screen printers we knew, showed up and sat over the screen printing machine, watched the process, and we were really hands-on from day one. And so designed a collection of t-shirts, launched that at a trade show called Outdoor Retailer. We were at the trade show, and at this point, obviously, we're not a company, we're just an idea. And we all went back to the hotel room after we spent a whole day just handing out business cards and trying to talk to anyone we possibly could. All had just pockets full of business cards, thinking like, oh my gosh, it's happening. We get back to the hotel room and all sit down, pour our business cards on the table and look at each other, and everyone's like, all right, cool, so where's the orders? Like, who's got the orders, And we all really quickly realized that like, none of us had an order, but we had a lot of business cards. I'll say this, it's a lot easier to ask somebody for money when you have an order, right? So if you have a purchase order and a commitment from a retailer, it's a lot easier to go to somebody and say, hey, I need cash to buy this thing. But yeah, I mean, you basically go to your family and say, hey, we got an order from REI. We need to make this stuff. Can you help us? Obviously, there's something in it for them too. But at the end of the day, it's a lot easier when you have a purchase order, I think. The world we came from, the traditional wholesale model is you make a ton of stuff and then try to find a way to sell it. And then if you don't sell it, you're left with stuff on sale. You're left with off price. You're left with trying to find ways to destroy things. And that to us was like, that's weird. And so one of the things we did early on was we came in and said, you know what, we buy blanks and we print them locally, and we can make that happen whenever. We were giving retailers more flexibility, which was really helpful. If you speak to people nowadays in that e-commerce tech bubble and mindset, the feedback typically is you got to sell directly to the customer. But there's something to be said about working hand in hand with retailers. These people have been selling product for a long time and working with customers on what works, what doesn't work. If we did this all over again, I would probably do it the same way. I learned to let go. I think that's probably the biggest thing. When you start a business, you're really used to being in charge of every aspect of that business, from building the trade show booth to what color Pantone is that graphic to, what material do we use for the hang tag. And a lot of times I think when you're the owner, you also think to yourself, I want everything to be the way that I would do it, right? And that's just not reality. People are not you. And so I think the most difficult part for me is letting go and also getting motivated and excited when you see what you've let go actually grow to bigger than what you personally could have done.